Now that's it for this introduction to class-based components. I showed you that they exist, how they work and how you write your own ones, how you work with props and the render method, how you work with state, and also how you work with these lifecycle methods for side effects. And we also had a look at how you use context. You can build your entire application with class-based components if you want to. That is absolutely fine. And in the past, as I mentioned, you had to use them in some cases. But in modern React apps, you typically stick to functional components instead, simply because they are leaner and more flexible, as you learned throughout this module. That's why I also started with functional components in this course now, because the React ecosystem transitioned to functional components as the main thing, and that's why I focus on functional components in this course. Also going forward, for the rest of this course, functional components will be the focus, and I will only occasionally show you how to work with class-based components. Nonetheless, I want to emphasize that you don't have to use functional components. It is fine to use class-based ones if you prefer them. But chances are that you also see the benefits of functional components, and therefore it is fine to generally ignore class-based components, with one exception to which I'll come back to in a couple of minutes. Now, if you're not sure which approach to use, if you're not sure whether you want to go with class-based or functional components, here's a little helper decision tree, if you want to call it like that. As a general rule, you should simply prefer functional components. And you should instead use class-based components if you personally prefer them. So if you disagree, if you like them, of course you can use them. There's nothing wrong with them. If you're working on a project or in a team where there are a lot of class-based components being used, you might not have a choice then, and you might be confusing your colleagues if you start working with functional components only. And you also should use, and you must use, class-based components if you're building error boundaries. Now that's something we haven't learned yet, but that's exactly what we're going to take a look at in the next lecture now.